Greetings, and thank you for joining me on A Psychologist Looks at Scripture. I am Peter Doherty, a Catholic priest and a psychologist. In this podcast, I integrate my training in psychology and scripture studies to offer unique insights into the Gospels while exploring innovative approaches to pastoral care for Christians. The Gospels remain a profound source of divine wisdom and spiritual experience, continually inviting us to deepen our faith and understanding. There is always more to discover. Each episode typically lasts between 7 to 10 minutes, during which I share reflections and insights intended to enrich your spiritual journey. I warmly encourage your questions and comments, as your feedback is invaluable to the growth and development of this podcast. Today, our podcast focuses upon the story of Martha and Mary. This gospel will be read in churches on July the 20th, 2025. Mary, Martha, and their brother Lazarus were friends of Jesus, and they were frequently mentioned in the Gospels. We don't have any record of anything that Lazarus said, but he was one of the 3 people in the Gospels that Jesus raised from the dead. The biblical record identifies these 3 explicit resurrection miracles performed by Jesus before his own resurrection. The other 2, as you may remember, are Jairus' daughter, as recorded in Matthew chapter 9, verse 18, or Mark chapter 5, verse 21, and Luke chapter 8, verse 40 to 56, and the widow's son, found in Luke chapter 7, verse 11 to 17. The story of Mary and Martha has often been used to justify the position that contemplation is more important than service. I am not sure that this is the most accurate interpretation. In Matthew chapter 23, verse 4, Jesus is very critical of the Pharisees because they were not lifting a finger to help people with their burdens. Mary was a woman of action too. In John chapter 12, verse 1 to 8, she's being proactive by seeking out Jesus at the death of her brother Lazarus. Let's look at the gospel. The story starts out with Jesus and his disciples visiting Mary and Martha. Martha complains to Jesus that her sister is not doing her fair share in all the work and is spending all her time listening to Jesus rather than helping with the meal preparation. I like Martha, and I am sympathetic to her situation. She is showing her love for Jesus by service. I'm reminded of Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, first published in 1992. His book outlines 5 primary ways people express and receive love: words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. This book has been on the New York bestsellers list for over a decade. Chapman points out that some people express their love through service. I suspect Martha is one of them. She is being hospitable. She is giving. Mary has been described as the contemplative one, and quoting Jesus, she has made the better choice to listen to Jesus. One of the benefits of being action-orientated is that you can see the impact of your work. It is natural to want to see productive signs of your work. It is satisfying to see the results of your hard work. It's not the same way for contemplation. The benefits are not always immediately obvious. Often priests measure the value of their work by the size of their parishes, the number of families, number of baptisms and marriages, etc., that they perform. I am very understanding of this need to have tangible signs of success. The helping professions like teachers, physicians, and social workers, professions that deal with people, don't always have the opportunity to see the merit of their work. You can work long hours with someone and not see the product of your work. Many therapists look for signs that they are successful. If a client does not come back, is it because they are healed or because they believe you can't help them? You don't always know if you've been helpful or not. As I mentioned previously, this story has been used as proof that Jesus prefers contemplation over action. And as I said, I don't think this is necessarily accurate. I propose the issue is not about action versus contemplation, but rather that Jesus is pointing out that both are necessary for one's spirituality to grow. Martha's mistake was wanting Mary to give up her focus on Jesus and help with the chores. I wonder what the lesson would be if Jesus had rather turned to his disciples and said, "Okay, boys, let's give Martha a hand so she can join us. Peter, you set the table. Andrew and John, get the plates ready. Matthew, grab a towel and let's get some of these pots washed." An interesting question. But what is more important is that the listeners recognize that it isn't about the meal, but seizing the moment. I've often imagined Martha and Mary, many years later, talking and reminiscing about their time with Jesus. I can see Martha just shaking her head because she had the Son of God in her living room while she was in the kitchen boiling potatoes. How many saints and mystics and holy people have longed for the opportunity that Martha had? Talk about a missed opportunity. I propose that this story teaches us to be sensitive to the present moment. I've spoken about this before, when we are so often exist on automatic pilot, go through life, but missing opportunities. It's important to recognize that action without contemplation might get the job done, but there is a risk that no learning or direction takes place. Contemplation, without being grounded in human experience or leading to change, simply becomes an empty exercise, a time waster. When you are experiencing difficulties, rather than just praying for deliverance, also reflect on what the lesson might be. When you pray, make sure you pray for the needs of people around you. Seek out new experiences. Put your big toe outside of your comfort zone. Make sure that you are doing something helpful for someone every day. It doesn't have to be a big thing, and even better if the person doesn't see it. Make sure you are learning something every day. To sum up, I recommend being intentional, proactive, rather than just going with the flow. My suggestions do not guarantee that you will always have an action or a contemplative balance, but you will be in a better position to recognize the Spirit being present in your life. One final point. I don't think every act needs to be action and contemplative base. Thank you for joining me today. Next week, we'll explore a passage from the Gospel of Luke where Jesus is asked by one of his disciples about how to pray. If you are new to the podcast, I invite you to explore previous episodes available on major podcast platforms and YouTube. If you are a regular listener to YouTube, I invite you to subscribe. I urge you to share with your friends who also have an interest in Scripture. Remember that new episodes are released every Sunday, focusing on the upcoming week's Gospel. Your feedback is always welcome and essential to the continued growth of this podcast. I'd also like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to my team members, Heather Patel-Doherty and Richard Coulombe, for their invaluable support in preparing each episode. For questions or comments, please feel free to contact me at peter.doherty, that's DOHERTYOMI, @gmail.com. May God bless you abundantly.